And welcome in a Wednesday edition of the Chico Bormann Show here on the Big Play Network. It is great to have you along. Of course, you can stream us if you are not doing so already. On Twitter, we stream 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 1 to 3, on Twitter at Chico Show CLE. You can also go over to YouTube, type in the Chico Bormann Show, hit that subscribe button. We just went over 300 last week, so we appreciate all of the support and looking forward to many more things to come with not only the show but with Big Play, and certainly as the football season is right around the corner. All right, you want to get involved, 216-626-7901. That number again, 216-626-7901. You can tweet at me directly at Big Play Chico. Now what, Bohm? You're already smiling. What are you thinking about?
Oh, no, I was just, I suppose, thinking about a conversation I had with a employee of ours, a colleague.
A colleague? Okay.
Yes, earlier this morning.
You don't want to divulge?
No, it was just about something from the show that, I don't know, maybe could potentially turn into a reel, but I have yet to discover whether it has. Okay.
Well, we will leave that to we'll leave that to the suits. We'll leave that to the powers that be. They have all of the and by the way, I will say they do a great job getting those those reels out and those little things. I think they're called reels. See, the reels and the films and all that stuff. Like I don't know. Remember, I just figured out that it's memes and GIFs. Or GIFs?
Yes, GIFs.
GIFs.
GIFs. Yeah, you
got
it.
And now they're throwing reels and shorts and pics and whatever at me. I can only handle so much, Bohm. You know that.
Well, it's an Instagram thing. I think they were the ones who coined that term. And when you post videos on Instagram, they are referred to as reels. So you have Instagram to thank for that, and I guess that all ties back into Meta and Mark Zuckerberg. So thanks, Mark.
And you. Remnants. That's the one I need. Speaking of reels, I need you talking about the bird that Randy Johnson destroyed in spring training years ago, and you're like, well, I'm sure there would have been remnants.
I did mark that one for Nick, so we'll see if it winds up. I guess not.
Making the cut.
Floor.
If it makes the cut, we shall see. All right, lot to get to here on this Wednesday. Gorgeous, gorgeous day out there. And, of course, if you are maybe over at Progressive Field enjoying some day baseball, the Guardians and the White Sox wrapping up the 3-game series. Guardians, oh, boy. It just, like we said, you were talking to Justin Lotta yesterday, talking about now you seem to get some things figured out, and then now the bullpen's struggling. Actually, should Tito have gone to De Los Santos, who was warming? Did he stay with Logan Allen one too many? Logan Allen looked great. Easy to play, armchair quarterback, but again, the Guardians fall to the White Sox 4-2. So the finale of that series, it'll be Cal Quantrill against Michael Kopech for the White Sox. And then, boy, we talked about the White Sox kind of coming off the mat, and they have doing pretty well after that rough start. The next team coming into town, and we'll be talking about this with Bret Boo, because it is Wednesday. Wednesdays with Booney. We'll talk to Bret Boo in the second hour of the program. But St. Louis was left for dead. I mean, St. Louis was 10-24, and they had guys on the injured list, as you would expect. Everybody's got guys on the injured list these days. But Adam Wainwright was out. You had some offensive struggles. You had Wilson Contreras and Tyler O'Neill bickering amongst themselves. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff going on, and you're thinking, well, the Cardinals 10-24, they're done. And then they go off and they win what? I believe 15 of their next 19 or 16 of 19, something like that. And now they're right back in it. And ironically enough, you look at the Central Division, the American League Central Division, nobody's running away with it. Guess what? The National League Central Division, nobody's running away with it. So Yeah, an opportunity that the Cardinals took advantage of, an opportunity that the Guardians could take advantage of. Now what, Bohm?
I've got a weirdly phrased parallel for you.
What do I do? Why do I do this? I wish we could just put a can you cover your face when you start doing that? Because you're laughing. Put a camera on you. Put the camera on you right now. He's laughing hysterically. Like, this isn't like a chuckle. This is what I deal with every day, folks. So I don't know if, is somebody under the desk there? Like, what's going on?
They don't call me Giggles McGee for nothing, Chico.
Oh, you're more than giggles, I'll tell you that. But anyway, so we'll talk to Booney about the Cardinals coming in town. Again, a team that is red hot. Hopefully something will rub off on the Guardians against the Cardinals this weekend, because they really, and again, another opportunity. The Twins, think about that division. The Twins are a game above 500. That's it. They're leading the American League Central. They're a game above 500. And that's why I said, and now apparently Nick got around to putting the reel out about the Shane Bieber. Somebody proposed the idea like, well, now would be a great time to trade Shane Bieber because, the Guardians are, and basically in his words, they're not going anywhere this year. And you could get a lot more for him, and he's not going to be signing here long term. Now, the last part of that I'll agree with. He's not going to sign long. I don't think so anyway. If he continues, now, God forbid, an injury, we don't want to see that happen to him. But, if he continues to pitch well, he's going to price himself out of Cleveland. I just, to me, it's a no-brainer. So the idea was proposed the other day that, oh, yeah, you go ahead and trade him now. And I'm like, no, you can't trade him now. Like, you're 3.5 games out of first place. And now if you're 3.5 games out of first place and it's, July and you're still playing like, I don't know, even then you can't. But we're not even to Memorial Day, people. Like, do you know the message that would send to a clubhouse that is pretty tight? Now, again, business is business. One thing the Guardians do, and at times that's what's funny about fans, is sometimes like they trade away Corey Kluber, and Kluber was, he was on the downside of his career. They trade away Corey Kluber. They get some guy named Emmanuel Clase, who at the time wasn't really, well, we had people calling in when I was on the radio going, well, okay, so they traded Kluber for a middle reliever. I'm like, well, not exactly. This guy's filthy, triple digits, nasty cutter. He could be their closer of the future, and wouldn't you know it, he's the closer of the future. So, like, they get upset when Corey Kluber gets moved for a middle reliever, and then now they're like, yeah, might as well trade away Shane Bieber. No, you don't. No, you don't. The message that would send in the clubhouse to the fans, maybe they won't ever get on track this year. I mean, maybe it's one of those years. Maybe it's just, a lot of the close games that, they won last year, they're not winning this year. Another close one last night. We know about the offensive struggles. Now we know that the bullpen's starting to have some issues because they've been, they've been pushed early on in this season because of the rotation, and then you had injuries there. So, I mean, there are plenty of question marks. But I just got done saying the St. Louis Cardinals, you say, well, they're not the Cardinals. Why are they not the Cardinals? Like, the Cardinals are not some juggernaut. The Cardinals have some good talent. They have some good players. They need some pitching, ironically enough. But, in a division that's not very good, just like the AL Central, the Cardinals, who were, again, 10-24, are now all of a sudden right there and probably going to run away with the Central Division. It can happen. And it might not happen, and then maybe you can have that discussion. All I'm saying is, if you seriously are entertaining a discussion right now on, what's the date today, Boom? Sorry to interrupt you. Is it May the 24th? Is that right?
That is correct, Chico.
Thank you, Boom. Great addition to the program. May 24th. On May 24th, if you're having a discussion about Shane Bieber getting traded, no, I can't stomach that. And like I said, the Guardians are always on top of things and when to trade and sometimes it's not the most popular move. So, if it were a smart deal. Now, Crunk on Twitter says it depends on what's offered. Well, okay, I mean, I guess you preface that with everything. Well, if the Angels are going to give up Shohei Ohtani, and Shohei Ohtani loves Cleveland so much that he's going to sign a 4-year, $80 million deal, then yeah, I then go ahead and make that trade.
That's like some Ken Griffey Jr. Major League Baseball N64 trade.
Exactly. And I think that's kind of what I've said it before. I'll say it again. Oftentimes, fans look at these things as like a video game, and it's not. It's real life. So, again, yes, depending on what's offered, but I'm just guessing that someone's not completely nuts that they're going to call up Chris Antonetti and say, hey, Chris, what do you want for Shane Bieber? Well, we want a lot. Well, good thing we called you because that's exactly what we're going to give you. Come on down.
We're going to give you an offer you can't refuse.
And again, you just signed, think of Jose Ramirez, okay? Everybody loves Jose. Jose signed long-term. Jose, we're going to do everything we can, and it's still limited. I mean, he's realistic. He knows they're not going to go out and get every free agent on the market. But doing everything you can flies, what flies in the face of doing everything you can is trading away your ace on May 24th when you're 3.5 games out. And don't tell me, well, they're below 500. It is what it is. Like I said, the Cardinals were 10-24. The White Sox were left for dead. They're now starting to come back a little bit. I can't look into a crystal ball and tell you that they will come back, the Guardians, and they will be a 92-win team like last year. But what I can tell you and feel confident in telling you is that I don't think the Central Division is gonna be running away with anybody, or anybody's going to be running away with the Central Division, whether it's Minnesota, whether it's, even Chicago coming on, whether it's the Guardians. This division is going to be wide open all year long. And you say, well, hey, you've got 6 playoff spots, obviously 3 division winners, 3 wild cards. Now, I'm not even banking on a wild card because the 3 wild card teams could come right out of the AL East. So I know the deck is stacked right now, but all I'm asking you to do is double check your calendar, okay? We haven't even had dogs and burgers celebrating Memorial Day yet, and you're ready to ship off the ace. And so, okay, one more time. Depending on what you're offered, yes, but right now, those same teams are still trying to figure out who they are. I wish Nick would have had in that reel, if it went a little bit longer, he basically said, or he had the clip of me saying, teams are still trying to figure out who they are. And that's true. But the real crux of my argument is more that, listen, it's May 24th. Your team is far, far away from being out of this thing. The division leader is a game above 500. Your offense is still hasn't done anything. They've got nowhere to go but up. You've got Tristan McKenzie on the mend and hopefully coming back shortly. Maybe also Aaron Savali. I'm not saying there's not concerns. There are concerns on this team. But trading away Shane Bieber on May the 24th, that would be no. No bueno. No bueno. That's what Jose would say, too.
That question isn't even worth asking on fair or foul because it's so blatantly foul.
But see, here's the thing. I know the guy that brought it up, and he's a great dude. He's in the media, and I think it was more out of frustration. But then a day later, he's like, I stand by what I said. Okay, well, no. You can, if you want to start having this conversation, like, again, he walks after next year. I get it, okay? But you want to start having this conversation in July or later, or they're just not, it's not going to happen this year. God forbid they have another big injury, or it's just, they're crawling into a hole and they're not going to get out of it. But we all know, like, go back. I'll tell you what, go back and look at, speaking of the Cardinals, go back and look at the 2006 Cardinals. They were awful in the month of September. They limped in to the playoffs. And I mean, they were not playing good ball. Guess who won the World Series in 2006? St. Louis. Now, this isn't a World Series team. How can you say they match up? I agree. I'm not saying they're a World Series team, but they're a vibe. You're looking at a team that won 92 games last year. They've only played, 50 right now, and everybody's basically back. You're trying to get some guys healthy and iron some things out offensively, but no way, no how am I entertaining that idea right now. 216-626-7901, 216-626-7901, and you can also do it on Twitter at Big Play Chico. You can also send it to the show at Chico Show CLE. All right, OTA's day one. Ooh-wee. Deshaun Watson looking purty. He was spinning it, Bohm. He was spinning, and I'm being serious. You see the video, the clip of the pass to Cedric Tillman?
Chico, that spiral was almost perfect. Like, it's like
you like that
almost
chef's kiss,
nearly flawless.
Yeah.
Yes, I do like a good chef's kiss.
Now, I will say this with Deshaun. I mean, obviously, I'm being somewhat sarcastic here because it is day one. We've had day one of OTAs, and there's still a long way to go. But the idea of Deshaun Watson not only like getting a full offseason, but let's really think this through again. Remember last year, he had to split snaps in training camp because, well, obviously he wasn't going to be the starter, or at least that was the thought for much of the summer until it actually happened. So it was, well, yeah, we want Deshaun to get the first team snaps, but he's going to have to share those with Jacoby because Jacoby is going to be our starter. At the time, when camp started, you didn't know exactly how long that was going to be. Comes out, it's 11 games. Think of now this being his team. Bernie, the legendary Bernie Kosar, who was in here last week, we were chopping it up, as we often do, Bo. And we were talking about the quarterback position. We were talking about Deshaun Watson, and he said, look, bottom line is, you're the leader of the football team. As a quarterback, like it or not, you're the leader of the football team, and most of them embrace it. He's like, but it's hard to embrace your role as quarterback or leader if you're not there to even play, let alone embrace it. And he's like, now this is the opportunity for Deshaun. Not to mention the fact that, and it's not even about, I mean, it is about, okay, $230 million. But right now, that doesn't mean a damn thing. Because how is this guy going to play? How is he going to respond? How are the guys going to respond to him? Like right now, if I said, and that's why, we bring up the clips from day one of OTAs. I bring it up somewhat joking, but somewhat serious. Like we have to see, the Browns have to see Deshaun Watson from a few years ago. And we should see that. I mean, that's a guy going to be, 27, 28 years old. I think last year was just asking way too much. I used the analogy before about, people just thinking he went into some phone booth, changed into his cape, came out, 500 yards, 5 touchdowns. Woohoo, all right, here we go. Deshaun, let's go to the Super Bowl. Again, not a video game. Real life. Real life says, so you haven't played a game in 700 days? Yeah, that's right. 700 days. Now, full off season. We expect him to be good. We expect him to be great. How great remains to be seen. How great also could be the determining factor of just how far the Browns are able to go. Okay, stating the obvious, Chico, he's the quarterback of the team. But, how long does it take? Because the second thing that we're all looking at, I'm curious, like right now in OTAs, and this is all we have is OTAs, and then we'll have mandatory minicamp, and then after mandatory minicamp, the next time they get together is training camp. But right now, like, what storyline are you following closest? Which storyline interests you more? Is it Deshaun just, spinning it everywhere and seemingly having a great rapport with his receivers, granted in shorts and air, and they're just, running routes and all that stuff? Or is it, if you hear, wow, the defense looks totally different? I don't think you're going to be able to see. I mean, you'll see some things like just basic fronts that Jim Schwartz is gonna want to run and will run this year that's different from Joe Woods. I don't think you'll see wrinkles like right away. But, boy, it'd be really nice to hear Dalvin Tomlinson looks incredible. Obo looks incredible. The kid out of Missouri looks really good. Jordan Elliott is finally taking that step because it feels like Jordan Elliott, we've been talking about Jordan Elliott taking that next step for like 8 years, even though it's only been just a few. So, one thing we do have, though, and we can't take it away. They can't take it away from us. Yesterday, it was on film. Deshaun Watson, he was spinning it, as the kids say. He was throwing dimes.
We need the Kevin Love song. Dropping dimes, dropping dimes.
He was dropping dimes, dropping dimes, dropping dimes. Talking about practice. You talking about practice?
Remember Lil Kev?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Great commercial.
Yeah, good
Great
times.
Everybody loved that commercial. I mean, when that first hit, you'd walk down the street and you'd hear people randomly just dropping dimes, dropping dimes. They just loved it.
He was literally dropping dimes.
He was literally dropping dimes. And just the way he – wasn't there the like he's in his bedroom, little Kev, laid back in his bed. Dropping dimes, dropping dimes. By the way, dropping dimes, Kevin Love and the Miami Heat, they're going to be dropping dimes for at least one more game against the Boston Celtics. Boom, I guess I need to say that I was dead wrong on that game. I said going into last night's game, yesterday's show, I said, this is the beauty. This is why Eric Spoelstra is Eric Spoelstra. It's in Miami, number one, so that's in their favor. But this is a game that Boston probably feels like, Miami will come out. They might be a little lackadaisical. They're up 3-0. It's must-have for Boston. But the beauty of Spoelstra is that Miami is going to come out and they're going to blow their doors off. And, that didn't quite happen that way. Good for Boston. They got one. Maybe now there won't be so much internal discord, boom, between Jaylen Brown, between Jason Tatum, and Joe Mazzulla.
I must admit, Chico, that was quite the exceeding of expectations out of Boston.
Oh no, God, not another accent one. If you're Joe Mazzulla, I wonder, like, oh wow, there's a barge, there's an old barge winding down the Cuyahoga River. That's actually Lake Erie, but still. Rolling into Cleveland.
Actually, I saw the Red Hot Chili Peppers live one time when Josh Klinghoffer was their guitarist, right? So before the encore, they were all off stage, and he sang that song.
Really?
Like, it was so out of the blue. He was singing Randy Newman in Cleveland at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse. It was a really awesome and special experience. I love when musicians do that.
I have, speaking of random songs, I have that song on my CarPlay, which is, I had one day where it was working and now it's not working again. I've got to get it fixed. But I have that song. I even have the Is it Bill Medley? Woke up one day. What did I find? Holes in my pockets. Memories on my mind. For Jake, the catcher, Tom Berenger,
in Major League.
yeah, and his girlfriend, is it was his fiance, and then whatever. But yeah, that and it plays at the end. So I have that song, and I have One Shining Moment. It'll randomly pop up like in the middle of the summer. And I'll just be like, oh, well, I guess it's not March, but hey, random song.
I love the ominous vibes of that Randy Newman piano, though. And the other one, the second, I don't even
know what ominous vibes.
It just has like a darkness to it. When that piano starts and it's like very like, ooh, this is going somewhere, like dark.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Chico After Dark. All right. So obviously we've got a lot to get to today. We already kind of laid it out for you. The Guardians, by the way, underway over at Progressive Field. They're already in the bottom of the second. Guardians are batting. They have one out, no score between the White Sox and the Guardians, and they wrap up it's the rubber match. Yes, the rubber match of the 3-game series between the White Sox and the Guardians. They will be off tomorrow and then get ready for they off tomorrow, and then they get ready for the St. Louis Cardinals over the weekend. Fingers crossed. I think I'm going on Sunday. Last week, I wasn't able to get to that game, Bohm, that you went to on Friday, where you were. What didn't something crazy? No, nothing crazy. You almost caught a foul ball, didn't you?
I came close to a couple. I saw my first ever catcher's interference.
Yes, courtesy of Mr. Zanino.
Yeah,
right?
with Shohei at bat, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
You know what? It was actually kind of wild seeing like the Shohei superfans. I feel like there were a lot in my area. And you can see, there's just such a buzz when he's at the plate, and you see people taking out their phones, and you see signs going up. It was just an experience that I feel like I'm very grateful that I got to take in person.
I knew Bohm would get sentimental with this. Bohm, I could see you, if you're in an area, anybody who's been at a game and somebody catches a foul ball, not all the time, but if, it's a screamer and somebody catches it, it's going to hurt. I mean, if you just grab it, first of all, you get a round of applause, which you definitely deserve.
Warranted.
Because about 5 seconds after you realize what happened, your hand's going to be throbbing. I could totally see you, Bohm, almost, are you okay? Are you here? I got some water. Would you like some water?
Chico, is it fair or foul to be legitimately concerned that if I catch a foul ball, I'm going to have to turn down the opportunity to give it to a kid so I can keep my first foul ball?
I mean,
I'm going to feel like such a bad person, but I've wanted this for so long.
I guess if you've never had one, you could explain that to Junior. I don't think he'll understand it or appreciate it, but you could explain that. But I think here's what I want to know. If nobody was watching, nobody had any clue what was going on. This is the definition of humility. All right? And being humble and all that stuff. If nobody saw you give the ball to a kid, would you give the foul ball to the kid? Or is it all about you want if you're a single guy, you want that girl? Oh, look at that guy. He just handed it over to that little boy. What a sweetie. Well, is that what you're do people do that? Because now, again, either way, that's fine. I'm always pro, give the damn ball to a kid. And I would. I can honestly tell you, as cheesy as I might be, I don't care if anyone was looking or not. I would absolutely give the ball to a kid.
Yeah, and I think it's not always really altruistic in its intentions, but I feel like
you drop in big words. And
no,
everything.
I mean that's literally what we're discussing here. Is it altruistic to give a foul ball to a kid? Can that be done? Giving a foul ball to a kid altruistically. So, but I feel like some people just don't
Go ahead.
I feel like some people just he's taking the headphones off. Oh God, I feel like some people just don't care. about like, oh yeah, another foul ball, cool. Here you go, kid. I'd be like, sorry, Bucko, but I'm still a kid at heart, and this is my first foul ball.
Boom, there is not a shot in hell that you would say that.
You're right. That was a paraphrased.
Hey, Billy. Hey, my name's Bohm. Yeah, you're a big fan of the Chico Bormann? Oh, you hate it? Well, here, I don't want you to be sad. There's no...
I'd rather not give you this foul ball, but maybe we could be friends.
I think there are people that do it solely because they want to look good. And if they don't... Now, if there's not a kid around, oftentimes you will keep it. But, I mean, it's really difficult. I don't care where you're sitting. There's going to be... It doesn't even have to be a kid. It can be, a teenager. Or, I mean, if it's a kid, all the better. Especially if the kid... Now, boom, here's the thing. If the kid has a glove, like he brought his glove to the ballpark. Now, I'm going to say this. I hope certain people aren't watching this. If you're an adult and you bring a glove to the game, like, no. Foul. Fair or foul, adults bringing a glove to the game. Extremely foul in my book.
I want one. I wish I had one at a game, Chico. I just it's the best opportunity to catch a foul ball, and I want a foul ball.
No, you want to get a foul ball. Either you catch it or oftentimes, I would say 60%, 75% of the foul balls caught are a ricochet, and you're grabbing them from behind a seat or on the ground.
Especially with the netting nowadays, but there were a few pop-ups, Chico, that just landed like right near my section.
I kind of feel like I liken the adult bringing the glove to the game to Halloween trick-or-treating. Like, at a certain age, you got it. Now, I know I'm going to take hell for that, but at a certain age, now, if you're doing it for a kid, that's, again, different story. You got a little kid, whatever, that's fine. But I feel like an adult bringing a glove to a baseball game in search of a foul ball, or maybe they're just doing it because they think it looks cool. It doesn't look cool.
Yeah,
But,
Chico, if I were on like a date of some sort at a baseball game, I would certainly not bring a glove.
I would say that if you did that, that should be automatic. Okay, hey, I accept the fact that we're going to the game, we're on a date, and you brought your glove, but don't even think about asking me for a second.
Yeah, it just seems, as cheesy as I may be, that's a little too cheesy for me.
Because then you know what you would do? You'd be like, hey, babe, want to go out to the clubs? Can you hold my glove in your purse and your Louis Vuitton bag? Can you put my Rawlings in there? No, idiot, I can't. I just never quite understood that. All right, off the beaten path a little bit. Bret Boo coming your way, top of the hour. We'll update you also when we come back on the Guardians and the White Sox. Again, the finale of that 3-game series. But when we come back, right away, it's time for another edition, a Wednesday edition, a sunny Wednesday edition, a sunny Wednesday getaway edition of Fair or Foul with Michael and the Bombastics. It's next. Chico Bormann Show, more to come right here on the Big Play Sports Network. Boom, did you change the fair or foul theme? Did you add some, is this different music?
This is the same music we've had for the past couple weeks.
Past couple weeks.
It's maybe it's just like the commercial break throwing you off.
I just didn't notice it. Yeah, I'm that guy that, you have a girlfriend. Wow, did you get your hair cut? Yeah, I did about a month ago. Oh, hey, well, looks really good. I like this sound. Kind of upbeat, ready to roll. Yeah. All right. Oh, man. Just happened to look down. White Sox have taken a 1-0 lead.
Shocker.
1-0 lead on the Guardians. Finale of that 3-game series over at Progressive Field. 2 out, top of the third. So we'll keep you updated there. Bret Boo, former All-Star second baseman, as he does each and every Wednesday, joining us here on the Chico Bormann Show. But right now, Michael Bohm also joins us every day. And he is responsible for a little game we like to call fair or foul.
Well, Chico, let's kick it off in the NFL and with kickoffs, because the NFL did change the rule on kickoffs, reverting to, I guess, college rules, where you could call a fair catch anywhere on the field of the kickoff, and you'll get the ball on the 25-yard line. Fair or foul, I mean, it seems like it's leading down a road of stricter and stricter regulations on the kickoff. Fair or foul, the kickoff will eventually be banned from the NFL.
That's the question I was hoping you were going to give me. I thought you were just going to say at first fair or foul, the
rule.
Yeah, fair. That's going to happen. I wish they would just, it's like they're pulling the Band-Aid off, but they're kind of, real slow about it. Well, just get rid of it. I mean, I don't like it necessarily, but again, we have to understand, and I'm going to try to look up, just like when President Clinton said, read my lips. Or no, that was Bush. And then Clinton also said, I did not have relations with that woman, Miss Lewinsky. Read my lips. Roger Goodell's number one concern is player safety. Player safety. And yes, I'm trying to keep a straight face. So, yeah, eventually it's going to be done. I mean, I don't know why they're looking to drag it out like this. It's stupid. But, well, it is Raj, so. Next.
All right, Chico, well, moving on, I got some more NFL for you. Now, Adrian Peterson, name that I feel I haven't heard in a long time, but apparently he's not yet retired. He said that he's not done in the NFL, Chico. Fair or foul? Over 0.5 carries for Adrian Peterson remaining in his NFL career.
Why are you about to crack up laughing about that question? It was over. Yeah, so you're saying, will he get a carry this? He played last year, didn't he? I mean, he was on a roster somewhere, I'm guessing. Arizona or somewhere. I think he's one of those guys that, I mean, obviously he's not Adrian Peterson, but, the guy still is 6'3", 230. He's physical. I wouldn't expect him to lead your team in rushing, but if it's a game or two that he's got to fill in, or if you want him as a short yardage back or something, yeah. So, I mean, hell, it's good money. Adrian Peterson is one of the best to ever do it. Adrian Peterson, when you are one of the best to ever do it, have a fire in your belly that really never goes out. Ask Tom Brady, and so I'm not surprised by this, and I will go over on that half a carry for this season.
From what I can find, Chico, it looks like he hasn't played it down since 2021. Now, he played in 4 games in 2021.
Really? Well, I think he was on a roster though.
He may have been on a roster, but I can't find any stats for him. It's 2022 isn't an option for him.
Well, then maybe.
Does
Yeah.
that change your opinion at all?
No, I think. I mean, if he, especially in today's day and age, with the injuries, and he's 38 years old, keeps himself in great shape. At least that's what I hear. I haven't seen him lately, but yeah, I'll go fair on that over a half. You were really pumped up about that. You're like staring down your phone while you were reading it. Everything.
Well, Chico, in honor of Browns fans across the world getting all up in a tizzy over Cedric Tillman's immaculate reception.
Well, now hang on a second, Bohm. I think you're being a little bit unfair.
Little hyperbolic.
Well, up in a tizzy, they're excited to see Cedric Tillman make a nice play. He was a wide receiver that many feel the Browns kind of stole a little bit because of the injury last year to him. So, but anyway, go ahead after raining on everyone's parade.
I'm just poking fun at it, Chico.
I think you're raining on everybody's parade.
Well, and in light of this new content, which many may find quite exciting, fair or foul, over 35 receptions for one Cedric Tillman.
Okay. Can I, fair or foul, Bohm repeating questions about, I knew this is where you're going to go. You love the Cedric Tillman. I think it was over, under.
I think I asked like 50 before.
Oh, so it's different if you change the number?
It is, and it's a different point in the offseason.
One OTA?
Yeah, we're re-gauging temperatures here on certain.
Boom. Okay, this is what I'll say. I'll say it.
It's been a few weeks.
I said this on draft day. I mean, unless they got really, really tight at that little camp in Puerto Rico, wherever they were at. Yeah, he's gonna be targeted. But he's not. Think about the pecking order right now. Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Donovan Peoples-Jones, Marquise Goodwin, David Njoku, David Bell. Now, that's not to say that, he's not, I think people automatically, and again, even more so now, because the Browns, they didn't have that first round. So if you're seeing an early pick, you're like, oh, yeah, that was a late. No. They got him, what round? 4?
3. He was their first pick, wasn't
round 3. He wasn't their first pick. No.
Stand by.
No. Anyway, Cedric Tillman, he may have been. Cedric Tillman, eventually, this is a lot of the Browns draft, whether it be him, whether it be, go ahead, Boom.
Yeah, third round pick 74. He was their first pick, and then in the third round they also took the defensive tackle out of Baylor. If you'll recall.
He will
Siaki?
Yeah, he will see a lot of time this year. Cedric Tillman's not. I think it's more of a, he'll see some reps, he'll see some time, but if he sees a lot of time, that's bad news because that means they had an injury. Cedric Tillman's going to be fine in the long run. This is one of those, you watch in 2 years, by next season at this time, because they're not going to be able to keep all those guys. So DPJ might be gone after this year, or Amari Cooper. So Cedric Tillman is definitely the future, but I think because he was their first overall pick, yet third round, 74th overall, people are like, oh. So, and I know you're getting very excited. Is he going to turn into your Anthony Schwartz? Because you had a real hard man crush on Anthony Schwartz.
I'll tell you what, I'm not afraid to admit, Chico, that I have an open bias for new receivers that the Browns bring in through the draft. I
like him. Please don't get me wrong. I really like him.
I have very high hopes for him, and it's just because the Browns took him, and I really love what I've seen from him and read up about him, and there's just excitement about it.
There is so much. Again, if this guy doesn't get hurt, and he got hurt, I think it was like week 3 against Pitt, and then he missed a bunch of time, was never really the same.
High ankle, right?
Yeah. If he doesn't get hurt, he might very well be first-round receiver. I mean, because again, he wanted to come back after the class before him was Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave and Jameson. So he's like, you know what? If I come back, I can be even better. Might even win a national championship. Well, not a national championship, but we could maybe be in contention for the SEC, and my stock's going to go nothing but up. So,
Chico, if he did not get hurt, he's probably winning the Biletnikoff over his teammate Jalen Hyatt, as well as Marvin Harrison Jr. But I digress. All right, let's move on. Shifting gears now as we transition to the Diamond, where the Oakland A's stand at 10-37. Chico, oof, just brutal. However, they have inked a tentative deal with the state of Nevada to move out to Vegas. Fair or foul, this move for the Las Vegas Athletics rejuvenates the franchise, and they become a winning squad within 3 years, a playoff squad at least. They make the playoffs within 3 years of their move to Vegas.
Simply because they're in Vegas?
You never know. I mean, there's obviously a lot of things changing. Maybe there will be better crowds. They have only 5 wins at home.
Oh, they're awful, and that's a god-awful place. I mean, it's terrible. It is, like, I would say think Cleveland Municipal Stadium back in the day times, like, 10. I don't know if they're similar. It's bad. They're not a good team. Like, make no mistake, this isn't like they have now, maybe in 3 years they've got some guys developing. I can't tell you off the top of my head what their farm system looks like, but their team right now, Booney's soon-to-be son-in-law, Nick Allen's batting ninth. We talked about him trying to get over the Mendoza line, and that's not a rip on him. I mean, he's a young kid. He's a Gold Glover. But, like, they've got a lot of those guys that still have a lot of proving to do. So, but my God, you could have said the Oakland A's are moving to Parma. Fair or foul, that will be an upgrade. I would have said fair. Like, they need to get the hell out of Oakland. And Vegas also has a lot of distractions. May have heard about that.
Yes, but going to a baseball game is a good place to experience such distractions.
Yes, Bo.
Certainly they'll have casinos and gambling. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, my most sincere apologies, Chico.
You don't have to apologize.
Anyways, I want to talk a little guards with you. So, Jose Ramirez currently leads the team, hitting .272 on the guards roster. Fair or foul, Chico? 3 players over .272 by the end of this season on the Guardians, with the Guardians bats.
3 players over .272. So I'm going to say foul. I'll have Steven Kwan and I'll have Jose Ramirez.
Kwan at .258 currently.
Yeah, he's
going into today.
He's kind of been strung a little bit too, but he'll figure it out. He's a good hitter. But like Ahmed Rosario, we know is going to get. Hopefully, he's going to be with us the entire season. We'll see. He's going to have his streaks where he's extremely hot and he's 3 for 4, 4 for 5, triples. I think he is among the leaders in triples. He always is.
Yeah.
But you look at that lineup. Andres Jimenez. I think he's going to be better. I mean, he's not going to be 230. He's going to struggle a little bit. I think that's going to continue a little bit. So. Andres. Oh, wait. Nice to see him. I'm trying to think of. See, now, Will Brennan was one like last year. If you got really glass half full, oh, man, he's a really good. Because Will Brennan, here's the thing. Will Brennan is a guy that, but he's in it along with a lot of other guys that, like, now it's the second go around. Now the book's out on him. I think he's going to be a good hitter. He's not going to be, but he's going to be a good line drive hitter. But the book's out, and now he's got to adjust to the adjustments. But back to your question, fair or foul over 2 guys, 272 for the season. I'm going to go foul. I'm going to put it at 2 with Steven Kwan and Jose Ramirez.
Now, you mentioned Ahmad Rosario and hopefully being with the team, and you raised an interesting... Ahmed. Sorry, apologies.
Sorry.
Sorry, I know you said don't apologize. I apologize for apologizing. So, fair or foul, Rosario is the most likely of the Guardians to be traded this season. Gotta think about this.
Yeah, I'll go fair with that. I mean, like, could there be prospects? So, okay, are we talking just full roster? Like, just the 25-man, just like
everyone on the team? Like, is Rosario the most expendable, the most likely to be dealt amongst?
But I mean, you're not talking about minor leagues too, and guys that are in the minors.
Do you think there is a minor leaguer who's more likely than Rosario to be?
No, what I'm saying is,
should we call up Justin Lara?
What I'm saying is, if they, let's say they're buyers and not sellers. Let's say they go out and they put a package together with some prospects, which, by the way, they've got a few of them, and they want to bring in a bat. Like, right field never materializes. You don't have, Oscar Gonzalez isn't cutting it. Will Brennan isn't cutting it. So they decide we're going to, and I don't know if that'll happen, but it could. Then, but okay, for the sake of argument, for the sake of fair or foul, and I do everything for the sake of fair or foul, yes, Ahmed Rosario will get moved before the end of the season.
All right, now you bring
Most likely to be moved.
You bring up another interesting point, Chico. Fair or foul, the Guardians will be buyers this trade deadline.
I'm going to go foul only because I think they're going to stand pat. They could. Like I said, if the right deal opens up, and I'm kind of hedging here, but if the right deal opens up, and like, again, I keep saying there's a lot of baseball. We may get to August, right? And this is my hope. We may get to August and say, do you remember all of those morons back in May that were complaining and bitching about the Guardians, and that might be where we're at. Who knows? Boom, you all right over there? You look frazzled. You look frantic. You look discombobulated.
No, I'm making sure we're all set and ready to roll for Booney. I'm excited to hear what he has to say.
Did you know, like we always say, discombobulated?
I love that word.
Can you be combobulated?
Now, that is such a great question. Oh, my God, Chico. I love that. I'm going to ponder that all day.
Like, if you...
How are you today? I'm combobulated.
Hang on a second. We're going to... This is too good. I can't... White Sox are up 4-0. Okay, that's not good. I can't, in good conscience... I cannot... Yeah, I know he's here. He can wait 2 seconds, Bohm. Gosh. All right, so combobulate. Let me see if this is right. Because you always hear, boy, he's just so discombobulated. Can you combobulate? Oh, it's a word. Combobulate. To put together in order, to bring something out of a state of confusion or disarray. So I tried to combobulate fair or foul on this Wednesday to no avail.
Is it appropriate to say that you're feeling combobulated if someone asks how you're doing?
I guess so.
It's fair.
But see, isn't it weird? You never hear anybody say that. You always hear discombobulated. I've never heard anyone, anywhere, anytime use the word combobulate. See, Booney is like, man, I'm so glad. This is why I love coming on with Chico, because he gives me things to think about that nobody else does. And I know he appreciates that. All right, let us step aside for just a couple minutes. When we come back, Bret Boo, can he hear me or no? I always think he can't hear me, no.
He's got you.
He's got me? I would appreciate a smile, a thumbs up. Combobulate. Wow, that was great. You know what? No respect here. All right, we'll take a break. Make him wait longer, for God's... No, actually, please stay on the line, Booney. All right, it's the Chico Bormann Show. More after this on the Big Play Network. We are back on this Wednesday afternoon, the Chico Bormann Show on the Big Play Network. You can also stream us on Twitter. Very easy to find. Go to Twitter, type in at Chico Show CLE, and you are ready to go. And we are ready to go for our good buddy Bret Boo. Appears to be very combobulated here, as he usually is. A very combobulated set behind him, with everything in order, and he seems to be in order. Booney, it's great to have you, and how are you, sir?
Hi, Chico. I'm doing well.
You mesmerized.
I'm back. I'm out of Chicago. Last week, that was kind of funny. I mean, I was sitting in the dugout in Chicago watching Jakey play, so I didn't get to see any of the visual. I could only imagine.
Well, I thought it's kind of what your character. Think of it like, you also gave suggestions for television shows, which, by the way, I've encountered one of them, which we'll get to in a second. But it was kind of like that's the next development in your character was Booney on location.
On location.
In the bleachers somewhere. The only one that we're missing now is you in the helicopter. And
that's right.
At some point that's going to happen. I know it's going to come.
Yeah. We gotta leave some things for the imagination.
Would
Maybe one day that'll pop up.
Would you helicopter in for our golf outing this year?
That's a long helicopter ride. What is your golf outing, Chico? How are you? You good player? You stink? What are you?
Well, I haven't played in a while because it costs money to play. No, that's a real violin type. Come on. No, I do love to play. I'm not very good. I haven't played in a while. I would say about 10, 15 years ago, I was playing. Well, about 15 years ago, I was playing a lot. Now, not so much. Are you you're a righty, aren't you? Yeah.
Yes, I'm a righty.
I'm a southpaw.
Really?
Yeah.
Sports is built for lefties.
I've got to believe, Booney, that now I know normally you get huge appearance fees to show up at these events and probably do get helicoptered in. That would be a long ride. But I would think in this case, the opportunity, you talk about bucket list opportunity for you. And I mean, you probably, being that, you've lived the life you've had and you've earned it, you've probably scratched a lot of things off the bucket list. But the idea of being able to play 18 holes with Chico Bormann has to be right up there, doesn't it? I mean,
I don't know if there's a lower thing on my bucket list, to be honest with you. I'd rather play with Bohm.
Oh,
I'm a better golfer than Chico.
You look like it, actually.
No.
A golfer can spot a golf. Well, I hate to call myself a golfer. I'm in the middle of a swing change right now. I tried some things out.
Eldrick. What did Claude Harmon say about?
I played 2 days ago, and I got a grip change. I think it's going to be a positive thing.
You have a swing coach, don't you? I guarantee you have a swing coach.
No. Here's the thing with golf. Golf, outside of baseball, has been my passion for a lot of years.
That was what mine was. That's how I felt about it.
I love it. I was in the Tuesday game, the Wednesday game, the Thursday. I'd play 3 or 4 times a week in the off season, and I've stayed between a 3.5 index to a 7. So I've been in that range. I'm not a stitch better than I was 25 years ago. I'm the same exact player.
Oh, that's
I can shoot 75 and I can shoot 85. I've got a baseball grip, always have had it. And the golfers out there know to be really good, and I'm talking a scratch golfer, you've got to make some swing changes if you're a baseball player. I just have never had I don't care enough.
Time out, Booney. We've got breaking news here. We're going to break here on the Chico Bormann Show. Are you indicating, Booney, that you are changing from a baseball grip to an interlock grip, the Varden grip, the true, they say, golf grip? Are you changing to an interlock?
No, I'm an overlap guy. No, I have a simulated golf grip. I just have a real weak grip.
Oh,
and
that's why you work out with those big guns.
True golf. No, I do overlap.
Okay.
Not interlock. I don't like the interlock. I overlap, but this is gonna. If I was sitting there, a buddy of mine was giving me like a mini lesson the other day, And he said, Booney, are you interested in being like a real player? And I thought about it for a second. I said it would be cool to be able to show up and say, hey, what's your index? And I say, oh, I'm a scratch.
Can you
I've never
imagine?
been able to
Can
say
you
that.
imagine one day you and Smoltzy on the course and you actually beat him? Like, I mean, that would be like right now. You never
Right,
have
like
a prayer.
Johnny. Well, this is Johnny's passion. He works on it. I mean,
Right.
I'm sure he's got swing coach. He goes to the range 4 or 5 days a week and hits balls. Whereas guys like me, the only time I'm at a golf course is when I'm playing. And I've always been like that. I've always thought I don't care enough to be that good. I like to just go out with what I've got and just play. I'm not willing to go to the range and practice and work on changes and stuff like that because I thought to myself, really, you know, especially when I first retired, I'm never going to make a nickel playing golf. So why would I put in all the effort to be this really good amateur player? But my buddy talked to me the other day. He goes, you know, because I'm sitting at about a 6 index right now, and he says, "Would you like to be a 0?" And it kind of made me think. I said, that would kind of be fun to be able to show up. Because right now, Chico, usually when I play, I'm the worst player in the group of a foursome.
Oh,
My
that's got to
buddies
be
are all,
terrible.
they
That
they
6
love
handicap.
golf and they're at the range and they're working on stuff all the time where I just go out and play. But it crossed my mind for a second. Like that would be really cool to show up and actually be a good player. I just don't know. I don't know. I'm, I'm doing many changes. I changed the grip with my driver the other day. It felt like it was much more in control. So I don't know. I'll keep you posted.
Now we saw you posted a video. You look like
I did not post it. I reposted it. Somebody else posted it.
Okay. Booney. See, having Bohm and Boone is just too confusing. I combine you guys two. So Booney wants everybody to know he didn't. Somebody else posted it, but you were hitting that whatever little circus thing you were doing there for the game. But you look like a guy that you don't stand over the ball very long. Like you get it, it hits the mat and you hit it. You hits the ground. Like do you do a lot of wiggle waggle type stuff? Because in the batter's
No.
box, you kind of did a little wiggle waggle.
Move it along. And that's something
Entirely different.
And that's the big misconception with professional athletes playing golf. You know, I hear it all the time. If there's a little bit of a crowd, oh, were you used to crowds? You played in front of 50,000 people. But I was a professional at that. That was my job. That was my livelihood. I had trained years and years to do that. Golf, it's a different animal. I'm not a professional. So when there is a crowd, it's kind of exciting. If you're playing in a charity event and you have a little gallery, it's like, just don't embarrass yourself. Don't hit anybody in the forehead with this golf ball.
See, that's what now. Okay, we always joke about Charles Barkley, who, by the way, I guess now has gotten good again. Like he was very good.
Let's not say he's gotten good. He's gotten tolerable.
Oh, okay. So you can.
Well,
Well,
I love Charles, and I've played with him. He's awful.
Well, but I mean, okay.
And yes, his swing, whoever he's working with now, he looks a lot better.
That's what I've heard.
He went through a phase where it was almost unwatchable.
Well, that's what Booney, I heard. It's funny you said hit somebody in the forehead. He admitted like that was his biggest fear. He couldn't get it out of his head that every time he hit, because it's Charles Barkley, he's going to play in pro-ams, that he would drill somebody in the gallery. And he said it got to the point where he couldn't do it anymore.
It's amazing because a few years ago, there's a local celebrity event in San Diego once a year here, and a couple years, and you get a little gallery here and there, depends who you're playing with. I was playing with Jerry Rice a few years ago.
Oh,
so the gallery was bigger, because Jerry Rice is in my group. So, we had probably 30 or 40 people following us around. And I'm telling you, it's just like on the tour, just on a smaller scale, obviously, but you'd hit one in the rough and now they'll line up. The people that are there will line up for your next shot, but they treat you like you're a professional. And so that, you
They're
see
right
Tiger or Phil, they hit one in the rough and it looks like they're in a bowling alley. They're going to hit it out of. But these are the best players in the world. They don't worry about that. That's their stage. That's their arena. These fans forget that this is not what we do for a living. So they line up and I kind of give them a look like, are you sure? Because sometimes I don't know where this ball is going, but I love it. I mean, golf is so fun for me. It's kind of a getaway, and it's so challenging. Um, but I don't take it too serious. Never have.
That's good. That's good.
Because I know, like I said, I'm never going to make a nickel playing golf. I actually love if you get to play with a pro player or a tour guy. But if you even guys that are on the mini tours, just the way and they do this, this is what they do. It's just fun to watch them, the ball striking and just how different it is, the sound.
That's where I was going with it. Is that again, this was back, my God, in Pennsylvania when I was working, but I played in 3 pro-ams, and it was the then Nationwide tour. It started Nike, and
Right.
So
those guys are good.
Oh my God, yeah, and I mean the guy that I played with the one day was like runner up at the Kemper Open. So I mean, these guys, a lot of times you lose your card. It happens that way. But yeah, like watching them prepare and just seeing. I mean, like I feel that way even when I go to a ballpark or a football field. But
yeah.
It's different with golf because it's right there, and it's like they hit it flush every single time. And even when you think they did hit it flush, and he's like, "Oh, son of a," I'm like,
right.
"What's the matter?" Well, I was actually aiming there, and it should be about 8 feet instead of 18 feet. And I'm like, damn, these guys are really freaking good. That commercial's dead on.
Well, you always talk about when you're talking about baseball, AAA, which is probably equal to a nationwide tour. And to fans think, some fans, and I'm sure you hear this in the baseball world, well, when are you going to go pro? To a guy that's in AAA. Well, AAA is pro. It's the closest league you can be in before you go to the big leagues. And there's a lot of AAA players that are really good professional baseball players, just maybe don't have that skill set to get it done at the highest level consistently, but they're still great players. That's like the nationwide tour. You play with those guys. These guys are polished professional players. They're just maybe not, in the top 150 in the world. So that's the tour you play on. But still, for a guy like me who's a hack, I get to go out there and watch these guys hit balls. It's pretty awesome because it's thinking, you think all the times I'm out there and sometimes I'm standing over a 4-iron thinking, how am I going to square this thing? And just to watch guys that's what they do, that's what their livelihood is. It's fun. I've always enjoyed that and appreciated other sports at the highest level and just watching it, whether it's going on the sidelines and watching an NFL game or being close to the court in an NBA game just to see the level that it's played at. Because what we do for a living, being a professional baseball player, you take it for granted. So somebody's in your arena watching you, and you'd have other athletes from other sports come and watch you prepare for a baseball game. Well, that's no big deal for the baseball player because this is what we do. But you see another athlete get in and try to hit, and you think, all right, when are you done with this? We've got to get on with our business here. But they're saying the same thing at another level. So it's really cool for me to go to another sport and watch them play and appreciate what that's like at the highest level. Because I think what we do, whatever we're involved in, whatever our sport is, we take it for granted because this is what we do and we're around these guys every day. It's our life.
All-star second baseman, former all-star second baseman, Bret Boone, host of the Bret Boone podcast, joining us here on the Chico Bormann Show. All right. Speaking of, you look outside, it's a great day for golf. Also a great day for baseball as the White Sox and the Guardians are in the finale of the 3-game series. Not good. It was manageable when we came on with right before Booney. Booney arrived, and now it's 6-0 White Sox going into the home half of the 5th inning. So clearly he had something to do with that. I'm curious, Booney, were you more of a did you like day baseball more than night baseball? Like, what was your preference? And did it change from a youngster to a veteran?
Well, it depended where we were.
Okay.
Some ballparks are nice during the day. It's almost a less stressful atmosphere. I think when all things being equal, when you're on your game and things are going well, there's nothing better than a night game with a big crowd. It's something electric about it. Day game kind of gives me more the feel of a spring training game. But there's certain ballparks where I'd prefer to play a day game. You see better, everything's clearer. Um, but now from a schedule standpoint, you're playing so many games. You're playing 162 games. It kind of throws a wrench into your schedule. Especially if it's like not a Sunday day game, it's kind of mapped out in your brain to start the season. Well, Sundays we play day games. That's just the way it is. But if you have a midweek, kind of a weird scheduled day game, like, well, we've got a night game on Wednesday, but we have this special twilight. We're going to start at 11:30 on Thursday, and I'm in Chicago. Well, that screws my whole timetable off because you're always going time zone to time zone anyway. Now all of a sudden throw a day game when, well, it's really 8 a.m. my time and we're starting a game in Chicago at 11. I
And
just flew in
routine's a
from
big
Seattle.
deal. Your routine's a huge deal for both.
Without a doubt. And I said for years before the Cubs won the World Series a few years back, I thought it's really going to be hard for the Chicago Cubs ever to win the World Series just because of the rigorous 162 game schedule, day games, day games. It's just not what we do because when you go on the road, it's all night games, but at home, it's a day game. Now you can look at it twofold. You can think when we're home, that's an advantage for us because we know 5 out of 6 days at Wrigley, we're going to play day games and the other teams aren't used to that. So that could be a home field advantage. But I just think over the long haul to go back and forth, we are kind of creatures of habit and we're used to 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, roll into the ballpark for a 7 o'clock game. We do our post game routine, whatever it may be. We drive home. It's midnight. We get to sleep at 12:31 in the morning. We can sleep in the next day and we do it all over again. All of a sudden you start going day game, day game, day game, night game, day game. It really does throw off your schedule more than most people would think.
I would think some of the younger guys would enjoy the fact, like, hey, you have like you're playing for the Guardians today. You have a day game. You're at home, so you're not flying anywhere. You have a day game. You have Thursday off before St. Louis comes to town because, hey, get to go out a little bit. But for the veterans, I'm sure it's like, hey, it's I need that time. I want that time. I don't want to break up my routine. But
without a doubt, and the end of my career, I used to, because I spring trained in Arizona.
Yeah.
So Scottsdale's a hot spot. It's a lively town. It's a
Lively
lot
town.
of young
like
people out having a good time. And in spring training, when I
Discombobulated.
became a little bit older and I was a veteran player, I would look at these young kids, that maybe their first year in camp, and they'd show up. We'd have to be there 8 o'clock, so we'd be rolling in at 7:30, and I'd look at some of these young guys coming in with a bag full of. You knew they were in Scottsdale all night, and I just looked at them and I thought, how do you do that? To go out and then you've got to be you probably got a 6:30 wake up call to come to the ballpark, and then tonight you're going to go do it again because I was there when I was a young. When I was 21 years old, that's what I was doing during spring training. But yeah, as you get older, you start to appreciate it, appreciate your downtime, and you got to get your rest a little bit more than when youth is an amazing thing, Chico.
Oh, yeah, tell me about it. And it seems like a very distant memory because, well, it is a very distant memory for me. All right, also seemingly a distant memory for the Cleveland Guardians is any kind of offense and scoring runs. They continue to struggle. They've got one hit today. Through 4 1/3 with Kopech on the mound for Chicago. Let me ask you, and I know we've probably talked around this subject, but directly, back in your playing days, you hit a rough patch. I mean, everybody does. What's your immediate go-to? Is it kind of like, do you call somebody, maybe your dad? Is it look at my swing? Is it just clear my head, do some freaking yoga or something like that? Like what was your routine when you got into that slump?
Well, I think like anything else in life, experience, you cannot replace experience, and you have to go through the trials and the tribulations. You gotta go through the downtimes. You got to get kicked, knocked on your butt, and you get up. And so the next time you come to that fork in the road, oh yeah, 2 years ago when that happens, this is what I did. And I don't think that anything can replace that other than experience. Funny you mentioned my dad, because my dad was a huge part of my professional career. As an amateur, high school, college, I didn't go to dad for anything. I had my coaches. But once we got professional, especially the big leagues, um, Dad, for some reason, knew my swing better than anybody else. And I could call him, I could send him video. He would fly in on occasion if he wasn't managing somewhere. I'd send him a plane ticket, and he'd meet me in whatever city I was, and we'd work on it. But there were certain go tos I had. I mean, and I got to a point where I had an emergency swing. So, and I tell young players this now, if I'm ever giving advice, don't allow yourself to go 0 for 12. Don't allow yourself to go 0 for 15. Make it an 0 for 5 before you make that. An 0 for 5 is enough to make that adjustment instead of no, I want to work through this and it might be an 0 for 15, but I'll get it back. No, survive through those 20 at bats because for whatever reason you're not seeing the ball well. Just for whatever reason, we're out of sorts. That happens throughout the course of a season. That's why it's so hard to hit for 162 games in a row. So what I would do, I had an emergency swing I'd go to. So I'm thinking, okay, it's not working right now. My upright stance, that aggressive big 2-0 3-1 approach I have, that's not working right now. I've recognized that because of past failures. And I have kind of an emergency where I'm probably not going to hit a home run today, but I'm going to compete and I'm going to have a chance to get a hit. But I've got to kind of step off that aggressive approach, that big leg kick or whatever it may be, and really simplify my swing. Almost like we were talking about golf at the top, almost what I think a golfer would do is some days you just don't have it. So that means today I'm not going to shoot 64 or 65 if I'm on the tour, but I need to survive to play tomorrow. So if I can just find a way to bump this around, shoot even par, I'll keep myself in the game. Similar with baseball and hitting. I can't go 0 for 15. If I can go 2 for 15, that's a lot better than 0 for
You
15.
weren't
And
afraid with the emergency swing. You weren't afraid of like developing any bad habits, or did you
no,
feel like, hey, I'm already
no,
struggling? So
I would just simplify it. I couldn't be quite as aggressive. I couldn't take as much risk just because whatever was going on with my body at that time, whether I wasn't seeing the ball good, because I knew it was going to come back. All that trial and error, uh, all the things I'd been throughout my career, because it doesn't matter who you are and how successful of a player you've been. We all have doubt, and the doubt creeps in. Why can't I? Why can't I hit? Why can't I hit? I came to the conclusion. I got to that point in my career probably 100 times where I thought, I can't. Why can't I hit? And then I would talk to myself and say, well, how many times you been here? 100. How many times have you come out of it? 100. But it takes going through it to really know deep down at the end of the day, I will come out of this. I've just got to kind of weather the storm in the meantime.
Bret Boone, former All-Star second baseman, host of the Bret Boone podcast, joining us. Before we get you out of here, buddy, I do want to ask you because, we're looking at the White Sox, and while they're still 10 games below 500, they're starting to, come out of it a little bit, turn things around. One team that has definitely done that, and unfortunately, they're going to be visiting Cleveland this weekend. The St. Louis Cardinals. I mean, Booney, it wasn't that long ago we were talking about the Cardinals at 10-24, and now all of a sudden they've ripped off, I think, what is it, like 15 of 19 or 16 of 20, something like that, and they might run away and hide with that Central. I mean, just like the American League Central, nobody's really running away with it. What is at the core for St. Louis in terms of what they're doing, and could they be a buy? They've got a lot of veterans, so could this be an opportunity for St. Louis to buy if this continues, or do you think they would just stand pat?
Well, no, I think the one thing with the St. Louis Cardinals, it seems year in and year out, I look at them and I'm never overly impressed with the St. Louis Cardinals. I
Yep.
never think they're, oh, wow, this is the team. This is the team that's going to win the world. I never think of them as a Houston Astros, an LA Dodgers in the last 5 or 6 years that have been completely dominant. They just always hang around and find a way to get into that postseason and make some noise. They're the St. Louis Cardinals for a reason. They have been for a long time. And it's just something in the organization, the culture that they've created in St. Louis. It seems like they're always there. I was like you. I'm looking at their start 10-24. I'm going, is this the year where St. Louis is not a factor? But we're talking about the Guardians and I talk about this a lot. But there's a big similarity between Cleveland's American League Central and the Cardinals National League Central. And I think the thing they have in common, they're the two weakest divisions in baseball. That's why I'm always saying I'm not really that worried about Cleveland. Going into today, they were 3.5 games out of that division and haven't played well at all. They're last in the league in hitting. A year ago, they were fourth in the league. So only to be last and only 3.5 games out, it's not that bad for the Guardians. I look at the Cardinals, same thing. You got the Brewers in that division. Pittsburgh Pirates been making some noise this year. It's actually been a cool thing for baseball, I think. But the bottom line is, at the end of the day, it's a weak division. I think if you really break that division down, the Brewers, probably from a pitching standpoint, are the elite team in that division, but they're not that much ahead of the Cardinals. I think the Brewers can outpitch the Cardinals, but you look at that offense, you've got an Arenado and you got a Goldschmidt in that lineup, two perennial MVP guys. That offense, second in the league right now, and that's not going to go anywhere. Offensively, they are an elite team. Pitching wise, I look at it. Yeah, in that division, could they win the division? They're 5 out right now after recently rattling off to 12-4 in the last 16 games. Of course, they could win that division. But I was breaking down their pitching, and as far as going deep into the postseason, I don't see it with the St. Louis Cardinals. But winning that division, getting into the playoffs, it wouldn't surprise me at all, because the Cardinals are the Cardinals, just like the Guardians. Same thing. Would that surprise me if they were to get into the postseason? Not at all. I think the Guardians have some work to do, in the pitching category to shore that up. Who doesn't need pitching, though, when you're talking about Major League Baseball? Pitching is always at a premium. That's why these guys, the big guys, make 35, 40 million a year to be that dominant starter. So interesting division, two interesting teams with interesting stories, and it's going to be fun to watch. But I didn't expect the Cardinals to rattle this off this early, but they're just showing that they, that culture in St. Louis is real, and they're banging their way back into it right now.
Real quick on the podcast, one of your former teammates, Dave Valley, and interesting thing about him, you were telling me, and I heard it in the cast as well, but like I didn't realize that he does color analysis or he works for both the Mariners and Texas on TV. Like I don't know if I've heard of that before. Like in the same division.
That was one of the interesting things when I had him on. I thought that was going to be the fun part of the discussion was, Dave, you go from, and it's quite possible the way he's scheduled, he could switch booths in the middle of a series. And Texas is, Texas is the top of the division right now. They're doing really well. I mean, offense is booming in Texas, and they're an interesting team to look at. Could DeGrom stay relatively healthy for the entire year? Evaldi's having a Cy Young type year to start. Those two at the top of the ticket for Texas, that's a 1-2 punch that could be dominant. That's almost a Scherzer Verlander type scenario for me.
It might be worth it. You might be worth it just to keep DeGrom. And I'm exaggerating here, but like, hey, you know what, Jake? Don't even worry about the regular season. We need you in, because if he's vintage Jacob DeGrom in the postseason and you find your way in,
he's the best in baseball.
He could blow everybody away, and that could be your ticket. I'll tell you
what, Evaldi's having that type of year, and he's got that type of number one, nasty, dominant, doesn't matter who you are, what the opponent is. If I'm on tonight, you've got no chance. Evaldi's got that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the last time we saw that, well, you see it time to time in the postseason. I think to the great postseason performances, you think back to a Madison Bumgarner when he was with the Giants, probably the greatest postseason performance I've ever seen when they won the World Series. I think it was either 14 or 15, but you go farther back, the Randy Johnson and Curt Schilling of the Arizona Diamondbacks in 2001, that 1-2 punch basically won the World Series with those two. Could this be, I think, DeGrom and Evaldi, potential wise, it could be that type of 1-2 punch. And Texas's offense is phenomenal. I mean, they're really good.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. Again, Dave Valley recently on the Bret Boo podcast. You can check that out wherever you get your podcasts. Very, very entertaining stuff. Booney, I've just been told that spots are filling up fast, not only for our golf outing, but for to play with me. But I am more than willing to reserve a spot.
Chico, the whole theme of this has been, Boone, are you going to fly in a helicopter? Wouldn't it be the Chico Bormann Celebrity Golf Classic? We will fly Mr. Boone in to play with Chico. That's usually how it goes. I don't know.
I'll send you my private jet if that's what I mean. You don't have to grovel. If you want me to send you my private jet,
simple. I'll take a nice business class seat out to Cleveland.
How about a Greyhound? Go back to your minor league days.
I don't think we're going to do that.
Well, we're going to be working on you, and like I said, you can. I know it's possibly the very last thing on your bucket list, but
yeah, right at the bottom,
you'd be able to scratch that off. Booney, always a pleasure. Keep up the great work. The Bret Boone Podcast. We appreciate it. Thanks, pal. All right, that is Booney. Always a treat. You heard him say that about. I thought that was interesting in regards to the emergency swing. Now, I mean, it makes sense. I don't want to. Yeah, okay. Hey, I just want to get on base. It's kind of like when someone says, "Okay, the count's 3-2. Choke up and do whatever you got to do. You're not swinging out of your shoes." I get that. It goes to show you too. Again, how great of a hitter he was, and a lot of these hitters are like. They can go ahead and do that and then not be too concerned about developing any bad habits and things of that sort. But interesting stuff. All right, we'll get an update. It ain't pretty over at Progressive Field. We'll get an update on that when we come back. And also, I saw something. I don't know if these are like early Christmas gifts, but I talked about bringing the glove to the ballpark. Nobody should be buying me this, and quite frankly, nobody should want any of this on your Christmas list. I'll explain when we come back. It is the Chico Bormann Show, winding things down on this Wednesday. It's all live right here on the Big Play Network. 216-626-7901. You want to chime in here before we get out of here at 3. Certainly encourage you to do that. It is the Chico Bormann Show here on the Big Play Network. Again, 216-626-7901. Very easy to stream us on Twitter at Chico Show CLE. Also, you can find us on the old YouTube thing. Go to YouTube, type in the Chico Bormann Show, hit subscribe, and you'll be all set to go. We appreciate that. Now, I know I'm, biased here, and Booney's been very good to me in the show, but I just, like, it's not even baseball stuff. Like, in the beginning when I first met him through Rich Herrera last year, 2 years ago? Last year, something. I can't even remember now.
I feel like it's 2 years.
Yeah,
he's been on your show for a while.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it has been 2 years. And I love talking baseball, but the thing that's great about Booney is, like, he's just it's cool to hear him say that about golf. And, like, he's not bragging when he's but you can just tell, like, athletes, that's what separates them. Like, a guy like Bret Boone can say, and I mean, I roll my eyes and it frustrates the hell out of you, but it's like, well, I mean, God blessed some with some things and others with, other things. But, like, to think that a guy who really doesn't practice that much and just goes out, enjoys the game, and can shoot a 75, like, blows my mind. I can't even fathom that.
And Chico, he said,
a
like,
hard game.
He said he doesn't even care, and he doesn't really put in the work for it, like his good buddy John Smoltz. I would have to imagine that Bret Boone not working hard is relatively hard work still.
Yeah, I'd be willing to bet that it eats it, because Booney's still really, really competitive. I mean, I'm sure some things don't bother him like they used to, but I'd get if he shanks one into the woods, or he could be like Judge Smales. There's no gambling at Bushwood, sir, and I never slice. Damn, you know me. Anyway, I thought it was interesting. We were talking about the Guardians, and again, 6-0, heading over to the 7th inning. And they've got the Cardinals coming in. Like, the Cardinals are red hot right now. Now, you look at their record, you say 22-28. It wasn't that long ago. They were 10-24. So think about that.
Chico, 12-4. We heard Booney say that. I mean, 12 wins in their last 16 games. That is a hot streak, if I've ever heard one.
They're rolling. And Paul Goldschmidt, who's a stud, I think a future Hall of Famer. Some might disagree with that, but third multi-homer game, like, he's heating up. You've got Nolan Arenado. They've got a lot of good young talent as well, like a Nolan Gorman, Tommy Edman, Tyler O'Neill, not necessarily young, but it's just that's going to be a team. I watch out. They're coming to town this weekend. Now, the way baseball goes, they could come in here and the Guardians could all of a sudden the bats awaken and they sweep them. I mean, who knows? But I'll tell you what, they're going to have to be on their toes playing against these guys because they're playing very, very well. Now, we had a question on YouTube, Bohm, from someone about the Guardians.
Yeah, actually, we had a couple of remarks come in that I noticed during Booney's segment here.
Okay.
First off, I'll just say Ronald says, "Let the era of the cursed pigeon begin," in jest, he says, as we saw Brennan kind of embrace that pigeon, which he killed.
There might be remnants. Still one of the best quotes by you of all time.
Well, the other thing that we had come in, and this is courtesy of Chubba Wubba Hub 24. Now, I'm just going to assume that he's a Nick Chubb fan, but
Chubba Wubba Hubba 24. Yeah, I like that. Of
I'm
course,
not one to
jump
I'm not one to jump to conclusions, but I feel like this is a safe leap.
Boom, you are a very, very observant, and I mean, this is what separates you from many, many people. Like you immediately saw that, and you're like, I'd be willing to bet that guy might be a Nick Chubb fan.
What can I say?
You're
Observations of a chronic overthinker.
Yes.
Anyways, so Chubba Wubba Hub 24 says, ask Booney if he thinks Cleveland will ever win a World Series. And he has ever in all caps.
Okay, do I answer this? Well, I think the answer is the same either way. Booney he'd laugh and say, yes, they will. I don't know when, but they, it's tough. I mean, 2016, that one stung. And it wasn't because, again, much like we saw last year, now they didn't go as far, but 2016, nobody expected them. They got into the postseason. Remember, Bauer was hurt because he was playing with his drone or whatever the hell he was doing. Carlos Carrasco had the comebacker. The arms were just, you're just not going to have enough, right? Well, then here they go, roll through the American League, and then it's the Cubs in the World Series, and they take them to Game 7. And that was so awesome because it was a ride that we didn't expect. And it just kept going. It's okay, well, this ride's going to end, this series, Toronto, right? No, they're going to keep going until, Game 7 against the Chicago Cubs. They came so close. Then what happens, though, is then the following year, Sports Illustrated, Guardians are going to win the World Series. Yeah, Guardians are, and, and those are those windows. Teams like Cleveland, and I'm not saying, the Dodgers and Astros or the Yankees, teams like that, Red Sox they always have a window open, but pretty much they do. There are years that their roster is going to be more suited. There's going to be years where, okay, hey, we lost some guys to free agency or what have you. But when we talk about windows, the Guardians have, and other small market teams, windows where, okay, yeah, now is where we go for it. Right now would be considered, and this is a credit to them, because last year, I thought they were going to be a 500 club, but what we didn't factor in, and there's still a lot of season left, is that now all of a sudden you've got a lot of guys, that sophomore slump, whether you want to subscribe to that theory or not, I think that's part of it. You've had some injuries, and you've had guys not playing well. We can all say that as well. They base running blunders. The catching position has been god-awful, and we're not just talking about at the plate. We know that, but, defensively. So they will. Bohm, what year? Look into your bombastic crystal ball. No, Bohm, this isn't something you can Google.
Oh, sorry. Getting ready to look it up.
Bohm immediately gets ready to hit the Google machine. Look into your crystal ball. Maybe that's Google too, Bohm. I don't know. Look into your crystal ball.
Chat GPT.
And exactly. And tell me when the Cleveland Guardians win the World Series.
2048.
2048.
Yeah.
As in
the year 2048.
25 years from now.
Roughly October of 2048.
And
it feels pretty bleak right now, Chico. I'm not going to lie.
I'm going to be, I hope I'm going to be around then. At 73.
I hope I'll be around too.
I'll be, I certainly don't want to be pushing up daisies, but I'm not going to be the spry individual that I am now.
Are you going to go to the parade in 2048?
If I'm alive, yes. Even if I'm dead, I might still go to the parade.
Over, under, more fans than the Cavs parade in 2016.
Oh, it'd be more.
Yeah?
It'd be more.
Still less than the Browns, right?
If the Browns would, I can't even. What
Millions.
would it'd be pretty. And look, that was now we still don't know the official number for the Cavs parade, but that was special for so many reasons. Not only did they get the monkey off their back, but LeBron, and it was incredible. Down 3-1. But yeah, I get the sense when you talk about droughts And even before the Cavs won, when you talked about sports drought, winning droughts, championship droughts, it was primarily Browns and then Indians, now Guardians. 2048. You said that so quickly and with such conviction. I almost wonder if you're onto something.
I know something. There's a
Interesting.
prospect they haven't drafted yet that they're eyeing. He's about to be born, and trust me, Chico, this guy is going to shift like the landscape
it's
of the
one
entire
guy.
Guardians organization. Yes.
So is this gonna be another Shohei Ohtani that like he does it all? Or
Oh yeah. It's there's promise, Chico. I can feel it.
Thank you, Paul. So 2048. So that answers your question. Chubba Wubba Hubba 24. Plan accordingly. And hopefully you're still alive for that. All right. 216-626-7901. Also on Twitter, at Chico Show CLE. Boom, obviously I'm sure you haven't started shopping for my Christmas presents. Notice I made that plural. But when you do, and I know you will. No, I'm just kidding. There is something. Go ahead.
I didn't really consider it at this point because I'm Jewish. So
That doesn't
Christmas
get you off
presents
the hook.
oh,
If I'm
should I expect Hanukkah presents from
so
you?
wait a minute, Boom. Are you telling me that if you dated a girl who wasn't Jewish, and she celebrates Christmas, you're not getting her a Christmas gift? I'm going to say that relationship isn't going to last very long.
You're probably right. I think I would.
I mean,
I just didn't think about it.
if she's not material, I mean, I don't think she's going to be that. But yeah, it's now.
No, it's a gesture that should be done.
But
It is-
see, then I guess what I would wonder is if I'm dating a Jewish girl, I don't
You got to celebrate Hanukkah with her.
right, but I don't know like what. Do I get her a big? Does it have to be like a great big gift? Like for all how many days is it? 8.
8 days. It can be, but no, I think one present is sufficient, and you treat it like Christmas. Same approach. Unless you get like really Christmas themed gifts for
Do
people.
you have like stockings all 8 days, or like how does it work?
You light a candle. You light the menorah.
The menorah, yeah.
Yeah, you play dreidel games and pass out Hanukkah gelt, which is like these chocolate candies that are coated in like a gold out exterior. You know, like pretend to be gold coins, chocolate gold coins.
Okay,
Yeah.
delicious. Yeah,
And
so-
you eat potato latkes. Latkes.
Now all I can think about is the Sandler Hanukkah song.
Yeah. Iconic.
Trying to think.
Put on your yarmulke. Here comes Hanukkah.
Yeah, Yasmin Bleeth from Baywatch is Jewish, and yes, her boobs are real. Put on that yarmulke. And then isn't OJ in one of them? OJ Simpson, still not a Jew. But guess who is? The guy who does the voice for Scooby-Doo.
Casey Kasem.
I know some of the lines there. All right. But anyway, this is going around social media. And I don't know if, like, please tell me people don't think this is cool or something like, wow, I got to get that or I want to buy that for somebody. It's a Guardians jersey. I saw it on Facebook. It's a Guardians jersey that has 45 and Jordan on the back of it. Michael Jordan's baseball number when he played baseball. And it's like autographed by Michael Jordan. Now, if you're going to get something Michael Jordan, I mean, great. You know, it's MJ. It's I don't think anybody's ever going to, but why the hell would you have it on a Guardians jersey? Like, you wouldn't even put it on a Cavs jersey. Explain that to me, Bo. Is this a new, like, I'm trying to keep up with the times. You know, Wu-Tang, and, now I'm a big Wu-Tang guy, as you know. Wu-Tang lives forever. Presidents may die, but Wu-Tang lives forever. Is this a new thing? What is it?
It's news to me as well, Chico. Now, I find this a little bit nonsensical, but I can see how it may have some degree of appeal to Cleveland fans who just love anything Cleveland, and it's also Michael Jordan, arguably the GOAT. But Yeah, no, it's definitely missing something when it's like not an autographed 45 White Sox jersey, right? Like there's something more special behind that.
I mean, I guess what I would do with that, first of all, if you had something from Michael Jordan autographed, it's worth a lot of money. So I'd immediately, I guess, put it in a frame. I wouldn't be wearing it. I'm not a big jersey guy anyway, but I wouldn't be wearing it. But, like, even if you put that up, like, in your house, like, somebody's be like, oh, wait a minute. Is that Jordan? Yeah. And that's a Guardians jersey, right? Oh, yeah. Why? Like, what made you think of that combination? Like, now, you know how they'll do, and I'm not a big fan of this, so if people do it, you can tweet at me at Big Play Chico. I'm not trying to make fun. I've never been a big jersey guy. What's funny about now working with Bernie Kosar is that's the only jersey I really ever owned or wore, and I have pictures to prove it. Bernie has seen them and got a good laugh at it.
Oh, you didn't own that Brooks Bollinger jersey?
No, I gave that right back to John Fry right after I had to sing that "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." But you know how people will buy a jersey and then they put their own name on it? Like,
yeah, I did that when I was like much younger.
Right. I've seen adults like, Ohio, when I was in college, right? I could never understand, like, I couldn't even, like, there'd be like there was a Andy Katzenmoyer phase. I'm really dating myself now. But like guys that were like his age, or even I was like a couple years older than he was, like they'd show up to parties, pre-parties, pre-game parties wearing a Katzenmoyer jersey. I'm like, this is weird. For me. But what would be even more strange is if, like, I don't know, I've just never been the guy that, like, 00 Chico. Right there. That's the name. Mike. Right there.
Chico would be a cool jersey, though. Like, I think even better than Bormann.
Chico's bail bonds.
Yeah.
Now, somebody I don't know if
somebody get this guy a Bad News Bears jersey.
Chico's bail bonds. What's the saying on it? Let freedom ring or something. I can't remember. Anyway, we go down the rabbit hole. But I had to say, like, if you're able to get Michael Jordan to autograph something, don't have it be a Guardians jersey.
Do you think he was weirded out by that?
He had to have been. Like, to the point where it would make me wonder if it's even, like, real. Like, if your buddy really wanted to impress you, but he knew he didn't have the money or the wherewithal to get you a signed Michael Jordan, like as kids trading baseball cards, I had a kid that rode my bus, and he would get a Mickey Mantle card, and he would sign it as Mickey Mantle, like. And he tried to trade, like, oh, give me this, and this. I'm like, well, that's not Mickey Mantle's signature. Yes, it is. I've seen Mickey Mantle's signature, and that's not Mickey Mantle's signature. So do you do that? Do you, like, fake an autograph and say, hey, I got you Jordan's autograph? Wow, that's really cool. I appreciate it.
My old barber actually had an autographed Mickey Mantle rookie card. You know that iconic card?
Oh, yeah.
He had one of those. That's one thing I miss about my old barber.
He's no longer with us?
Well, that too, but I left before he was no longer with us.
Did he go to somebody in his will? Do you know?
That's a good question. I didn't look into it because I had kind of fallen out of touch with him.
Now, was this in Columbus? Was this
Cleveland?
Oh,
this was
okay.
in Cleveland, yeah.
Do you remember a barbershop? I don't know if it was still around when you got there, because I'm a little bit older than you are, but Tex Barbershop.
I went there one time. Yes, I got one cut.
I love Tex Barbershop.
The hot foam?
The hot foam, the straight razor. It was straight out of Hoosiers. And, like, if you noticed on the wall, the one guy, like, I had, man, I can think of his name. John. John was the guy that, like, I had hair back then. But all across the wall, like, his dad owned it. And his dad had, pictures everywhere, and but they were all autographed by Buckeyes. Like, like Lucas and Havlicek, Bob Knight, because he played for Fred Taylor. Like, Tex Barbershop was it, Boom. How come you only had one and then you didn't like it? Come on, man. Just the nostalgia you had to go there.
The only time I ever got a buzz cut was Tex. And
He didn't just do buzz cuts. It wasn't like
I'm well
Hoosiers.
aware. I was very unsatisfied with my buzz cut, and I know that it's an irrational reason to not return, but I don't know why I didn't specifically return. But yeah, I think I got my haircut in Cleveland from that point forward.
All right. Well, you missed out on Tex Barbershop. Missed out on a lot here at the Chico Bormann Show, or at least I think you did. All right. We'll be back with you again tomorrow. Eric Casillas is slated to join us. That's always a good time. Although EK was actually calling about 2 minutes ago, so I'm hoping we're still good for that. But EK, CBSSports.com, will join us tomorrow. Guardians will be off. Getting ready for the St. Louis Cardinals as the Red Hot Cardinals come to town after tomorrow, beginning that series on Friday. So hopefully the Guardians can turn things around. They're heading to the middle of the 8th, and they trail the White Sox 6-0. Let me see if they have more than one hit. They have 2 hits. Yes, they do.
Hey, there we go.
So the White Sox have 6 runs on 4 hits. The hell happened in this game? Anyway, all right, we're out of time. Boom, great job as always. We'll do it again tomorrow from 1 until 3. As I said, Eric Casillas will join us, so looking forward to that as well. Until then, make it a great Wednesday evening, everybody. See you.